Practical Vedanta Lectures of Swami Vivekananda from the second volume of Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda. Second lecture delivered in London on 12th November 1896. Swamiji starts the lecture by narrating the story from Chhandogya Upanishad of Satyakam, who was steadfast in truth and who realized Brahman by getting teachings from birds, animals, fire, etc. Swamiji explains that Satyakam was interpreting the voice as coming from the external world, while all the time it was within him. The second idea that we get is that of making the knowledge of Brahman practical. The world is always seeking the practical possibilities of religion, and we find in these stories how it was becoming more and more practical every day. The truth was shown through everything with which the students were familiar. Swamiji then narrates another story from the same Upanishad. Upakoshala Kamalayana was a disciple of this Satyakama, who too realized Brahman by getting teachings from world around him. Swamiji says, here too we see the same idea of practical religion. The things which they were worshipping, such as the fire, the sun, the moon, and so forth, and the voice with which they were familiar, form the subject of the stories which explain them and give them a higher meaning. And this is the real practical side of Vedanta. Thus, it is clear that Vedanta does not destroy world or personality, but it explains them by showing the reality behind them. Vedanta teaches to see Lord in everything. Again, taking up the story of Shvetaketu and king of Panchal from the same Upanishad, which points to the objects of the world as symbols of Brahman, Swamiji says, here also we see the ideal becoming practical and Brahman is seen in everything. The principle that underlies all these stories is that invented symbolism may be good and helpful, but already better symbols exist than any we can invent. You may invent an image through which to worship God, but a better image already exists, the living man. You may build a temple in which to worship God, and that may be good, but a better one, a much higher one already exists, the human body. Then Swamiji describes the ideas about various spheres of existence and soul's journey through different paths to them. Through all this, the point that is emphasized is, without God realization, that is self-realization, no heaven is permanent. Everything with name and form is transient. Just like Christians and Mohammedans, some old ritualists in India had an idea of eternal heaven. But later in Upanishads, these ideas were found to be illogical and were discarded. Swamiji says, in the Upanishads we see a tremendous departure made. It is declared that these heavens in which men live with the ancestors after death cannot be permanent, seeing that everything which has name and form must die. If there are heavens with forms, these heavens must vanish in course of time. They may last millions of years, but there must come a time when they will have to go. With this idea came another, that these souls must come back to earth, and that heavens are places where they enjoy the results of their good works, and after these effects are finished, they come back into this earth life again. One thing is clear from this, that mankind had a perception of the philosophy of causation even at the early time. Thus, ancient seers first realized the truth by practice and by patiently investigating human mind. Philosophy and books came later. Swamiji says, this world spoke to the early thinkers. Birds spoke to them, animals spoke to them, the sun and the moon spoke to them. And little by little they realized things and got into the heart of nature, not by cogitation, not by the force of logic, not by picking the brains of others and making a big book, as is the fashion in modern times. Not even as I do, by taking up one of their writings and making a long lecture, but by patient investigation and discovery they found out the truth. Its essential method was practice, and so it must be always. Religion is ever a practical science, and there never was nor will be any theological religion. By analyzing the soul's journey to heaven or hell and then return to earth, the ancient seers also grasped the idea that finite causes give us only finite results. And hence, to transcend this vicious circle of repeated rebirths, heavens and hells, good and bad. We have to transcend this Maya by realizing our immortal infinite self. Swamiji says it means recognizing neither good nor bad, but knowing all as coming from the self. Self is in everything. It means denying the universe, shutting your eyes to it, seeing the Lord in hell as well as in heaven, seeing the Lord in death as well as in life. This is the line of thought in the passage I have read to you. The earth is a symbol of the Lord, the sky is the Lord, the place we fill is the Lord, everything is Brahman, and this is to be seen, realized, not simply talked or thought about. With Upanishads, the idea of fear, reward, punishment, personal God, etc. vanish, and impersonal idea takes over. Impersonality includes and transcends all personalities. Swamiji says, the impersonal God is a living God, a principle. The difference between personal and impersonal is this, that the personal is only a man, and the impersonal idea is that he is the angel, the man, the animal, and yet something more, which we cannot see, because impersonality includes all personalities, is the sum total of everything in the universe, and infinitely more besides. And further he says, where shall we go to find God if we cannot see him in our own hearts and in every living being? Thou art the man, thou art the woman, thou art the girl, and thou art the boy. Thou art the old man tottering with a stick, thou art the young man walking in the pride of his strength. Thou art all that exists, a wonderful living God who is the only fact in the universe. The only God to worship is the human soul in human body. Of course, all animals are temples too, but man is the highest, the Taj Mahal of temples. If I cannot worship in that, no other temple will be of any advantage. The fear that teaching impersonal idea will lead to immorality is not justified, as the opposite, that is, personal idea, fear, duality approach, has been tried for centuries, and the result is pathetic and violent. Whereas impersonal idea may have the danger of misinterpretation, but the world has witnessed the most gigantic workers, most gigantic moral and spiritual powers from those who worshipped impersonal self. We are infinite, but have only apparently limited ourselves. We vainly hope from external throughout our lives. Give up hope, says the Vedanta. We are the God that we are searching everywhere and are not able to see. Swamiji says, we the infinite have limited ourselves, as it were, into small parts. The Vedanta says that infinity is our true nature. It will never vanish. It will abide forever. But we are limiting ourselves by our karma, which like a chain around our necks has dragged us into this limitation. Break that chain and be free. Trample law under your feet. There is no law in human nature. There is no destiny, no fate. How can there be law in infinity? Freedom is its watchword. Freedom is its nature, its birthright. Further, he says, it is better that we know we are God and give up this fool's search after him. And knowing that we are God, we become happy and contented. Give up all these mad pursuits and then play your part in the universe as an actor on the stage. The whole vision is changed, and instead of an eternal prison, this world has become a playground. Instead of a land of competition, it is a land of bliss, where there is perpetual spring, flowers bloom and butterflies flit about. This one life is the universal life. Heavens and all those places are here. All the gods are here, the prototypes of man. The gods did not create man after their type, but man created gods. And here are the prototypes. Here is Indra, here is Varuna, and all the gods of the universe. We have been projecting our little doubles, and we are the originals of these gods. We are the real, the only gods to be worshipped. This is the view of the Vedanta, and this its practicality. When we have become free, we need not go mad and throw up society and rush off to die in the forest or the cave. We shall remain where we are, where. Only we shall understand the whole thing. The same phenomena will remain, but with a new meaning. We do not know the world yet. It is only through freedom that we see what it is and understand its nature. Finally, Swamiji also highlights the idea that If we are free and pure, we cannot but see freedom and purity everywhere. We cannot call worshipping of God through ceremonials as an error. He says, other forms of worship are not errors. This is one of the great points to be remembered, that those who worship God through ceremonials and forms, however crude we may think them to be, are not in error. It is the journey from truth to truth, from lower truth to higher truth. Darkness is less light, evil is less good, impurity is less purity. We cannot see impurity without having it inside ourselves. This is one of the practical sides of Vedanta, and I hope that we shall all try to carry it into our lives. For we know that truth is within us, we have it as our birthright, and we have only to manifest it and make it tangible. Thanks for watching. Om Arunachal Shiva. Om Tat Sat.